Hey, I'm Dr. Mark Rosenberg, and today I'm going to talk to you about the real reason you get a stiff neck. Now, one of my most popular videos on this channel is what happens when you wake up with a stiff neck, but a lot leads up to that moment when you finally feel stiff and painful. So let's talk about those moments. We have a lot going on in our heads. Between our ears, we think about everything. And things that are positive, they basically float in and out of existence. Oh yeah, I have to do this today. I need to do that. I should have done that. And those events in our head, those thoughts, don't tighten us up. But when those thoughts are tinged or saturated, if you will, with negative emotions, we start to tighten up. It's very simple. Thousands of years ago, when we sat in the cave, we were eating and our body was busy digesting food, and a bear ran into the cave, and part of the fight or flight response was to shut off digestion, to tighten up the neck, arms, and legs, to run away from danger, to fight off danger. And then after the danger was gone, we sat down and our system reverted back to normal and everything relaxed. Well, today, in most places in the world, especially here in the United States, you probably don't have bears chasing you. I hope not. So the catalyst for the events of muscles tightening occur from day-to-day stresses that we find overwhelming. Okay, that being the case, somebody wakes up with a stiff neck. Well, what did they do the day? I always ask my patients, what did you do the day before or the week before? Oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, yes, it does. Because what happens is if you have something that you're always thinking, emoting about, I want to make a difference between thinking and emoting. Thinking, you're thinking of solutions. Emoting has a one-sided quality, and if it's positive, that's great. That's a light, fine energy. But if it's negative, it's heavy and tightens us up. A lot of it we don't see right away. So somebody has a difficult few days, and then they sleep funny, and they wake up and they can't turn their head. Or they lift a box and they pull a muscle in their neck, or they think they pull a muscle. But if there's a low-grade signal going from the nervous system to those muscles to stay tight, to protect you, then you're going to start to feel bad. So what do you do about that? Well, on all my videos, I always talk about stretching the neck, and of course you can stretch the neck in a big circle one way and a big circle the other way. And by the way, doing things preventatively is always better than after it hurts. So I get up every morning. I don't care what I went through. I stretch my neck. I sit on the edge of the bed. I stretch my neck. I don't take any chances. When I was younger, I had plenty of stiff necks. Okay. And I figured out that it was a big help that I became a chiropractor, because I got to explore all the ways that my neck can get misaligned and muscles can tighten and nerves can get pinched. But from the background of what I learned from my teacher, Dr. Sohn, I learned a lot about the psychology and the deeper roots of why we get stressed out. So let's talk about that. If somebody does feel a little bit stressed, their neck's not going to tighten like this. Okay, that we would know immediately. It's a subtle tension. So if somebody's sitting at their desk and they hear bad news, or they're in a meeting and it's not going the way they want it, and they just subtly tighten it, they might not even notice it. If this is 5% tighter, you won't notice it. You just won't. Now that 5%, you walk out of the meeting, the situation, it stays 5% tighter, then you're driving in your car and somebody cuts you off and it goes up to 15% tighter. Then you go home and you sit in front of, you want to unwind in front of the TV, and you sit like this opposite, and it starts to get a little achy, and you kind of ignore it. Okay, and here you have the foundation laying down for a stiff neck. So this is what I suggest. First of all, let's get in touch artificially with what happens when the muscles tighten. So, okay, I'm going to open up my collar here a little bit. Take your neck and tighten it up as tight as you can. Now, of course, that's pathologically tight, but do it. Looks funny. Then stretch it out. And in doing so, you may notice that the left side is tighter than the left. So the left side is tighter than the right. For example, you're putting an artificial stress in there to figure out which muscles get more of a nerve signal to tighten up. Therefore, now you have something to work on. So let's say you feel a little bit more to one side. You might want to stretch this way a little bit more. I mean, don't neglect the other side. And you can stretch your neck in quadrants. So what, okay, I worked all day yesterday. I'm a chiropractor. I use my right arm a lot. When I go down like this, I feel more tension back here on my right side, about 3 inches below, above my scapula, my shoulder blade, and below my neck. Well, if that tugs on my neck and I get stressed out, that's the first area that's going to tighten because it's already tight. Energy, tension goes to your last greatest injury or thing that you're holding tight. So again, you could stretch out the neck. You could stretch it in quadrants. You could stretch it like this. And then I recommend rolling it and working out where you feel it. Roll the shoulders. Now mine's a little lower, so I'm going to roll it this way. Now I said I worked all day, but maybe that's not true. Maybe I wasn't aware that when 5 people were late for their appointments, my muscles were tightening up because I was wondering how I was going to get through the day. It's those things that bother us. Okay, so it doesn't have to be life-threatening. It doesn't have to be the bear in the cave. It could be, oh, how am I going to deal with this type thing? And there's a sudden signal from the nerve to the muscle, tightens up. Then the next day, 2 days, 3 days later, you wake up, it hurts. That's how it happens. So this is preventative medicine for your body. So, and also for your emotions, because if you're in touch with what goes on, you might walk into a situation and go, I know I'm going to tighten up. So before I walk in that room, I'm going to stretch my neck. And if you watch don't use your hand to stretch your neck. In this position, your arm is way more powerful than your neck. And you could easily strain muscles and push discs out to the open sides of the ligaments. I give the anatomy of that on my other videos. So again, artificially tighten your neck. You can do this to any muscle. You can do this to your hands. But very few people come into my office and go, oh, Dr. Mark, I have a stiff hand. Who cares, right? Well, they might have arthritis, yeah, but that's not going to cause the problem if you have a stiff neck. That's a common thing I treat. It's a common thing people suffer from. So again, we have a lot of thoughts in our heads, okay? If they have a negative quality to them, they could tighten up our muscles. So start getting in touch with that. You could, again, tighten, hold, and then stretch. So you're resetting things. And in that, when I talked in my last video about how to improve your stretch immediately, I talked about the Golgi tendon apparatus and how those are the little parts of the muscles that actually receive the nerve signals and tell the muscles what to do. By doing these type exercises, you're resetting that. So you're starting off from a much more relaxed place in your musculoskeletal system. All right. The background on this, I give in my book, not just a plug, but that's why I wrote the book, so people can have some more background information about the stuff that I teach here. If you have any questions, ask me on YouTube, and pretty soon the book's going to be out on Kindle, so hang in there. All right, bye.